What's up, Algebra 1 students? This is lesson 35. Our objective is, how do you graph lines using intercepts? There's supposed to be a question mark there, but how do you graph lines using intercepts? Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about what a standard form of a linear equation is. So whenever the equation is in this form, ax plus by equals c, and a, b, and c are integers, like -3 through, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Those are integers, so these are whole numbers. Generally, the x is a positive number, and the a, b, and c don't have a common factor, so they don't all have a factor of 2 or something like that. We're not going to be super picky about that. And then I guess the other thing is that a and b, one of them can be 0, but they can't both be 0. So let's talk about what intercepts are. The x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. And the y-intercept is, yes, you guessed it, where it crosses the y-axis. So let's just graph here some x-intercepts, what some of them might look like. So I'm just going to graph some here. Here's my x-axis there. So maybe here's one. It's possible that here's one. Maybe here's one. Maybe over here's one. Now, and y coordinates might be something like this, right? Maybe this, or maybe this. Maybe either one of them could be this one, right? That would be both the x and the y. So let's just look and see if we can write down what the coordinates of those points are and see if we can find anything in common with those. So this point here, the x is 5 and y is 0. This point, the x is 1, y is 0. This one, the x is -3 and y is 0. This one, the point x is -7 and y is 0. So notice, and I guess this point here is 0, 0. So notice, what do all of these points have in common? Well, all of them, the y is equal to 0. So on the x-axis, on any x-intercept, the y is equal to 0. And that's true for anywhere here on the x-axis. Any number along here, the y is equal to 0. Now, likewise, if we start looking at these, now x is 0 and y is 6. X is 4, x is 0 and y is 4. X is 0 and y is 2. 0, 0. This is x is 0, y is -3. So again, if you start looking at all these points, what do they have in common? Well, the x is 0. So for every point on the y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So let's see if we can take that principle and be able to graph with that. So this is like example 2. It says graph this equation using the intercept. So first, let's find the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, I know that y is equal to 0. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. Because it's going to be somewhere along this axis, and everywhere along that axis, the y has a value of 0. So let's just rewrite this equation here. 3x minus 7, but I know that y is equal to 0. So instead of writing y, I'm going to write 0 in there. And this is equal to 21. So 7 times 0 is just 0. So this is going to be 3x minus 0, or just 3x, is equal to 21. Divide by 3, and x is equal to 7. So now I have a coordinate where the x is 7 and the y is 0. I'm going to go ahead and graph that point. X is 7, y is 0. So that's that point right there. Now let's find the y-intercept. And remember, the y-intercept means that the x is equal to 0. So again, let's write this equation, but instead of x, I'm going to write 0. So 3 times 0 minus 7y is equal to 21. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, so I'm just going to have a negative 7y is equal to 21. Divide by negative 7 to get that y by itself. And y is going to equal to negative 3. So now I have a point where x is 0 and y is negative 3. So let's graph that point right there. Negative 0, 3. Well, you only have to have 2 points to define a line. So all you have to do now is to draw a line between those 2 points. And then that is the equation of this line right up here that we are asked to graph. Alright. Now this is like example 4. Example 3 is just looking at a graph and being able to tell what its intercepts are. I think you can do that. If not, read through example 3. But here is the example, one like example 4, and it just says here's an equation. Again, find its intercepts. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just add this 1/2 x to both sides. So I'm going to have 1/2 x plus y is equal to 4. And I'm not too big on fractions, so I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by 2. So 1/2 times 2 is just 1, so I'm going to have x plus 2 times y is going to give me 2y, and 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. So let's see if I can find those x and y intercepts. The x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So I'm going to say x plus 2 times 0 is equal to 8. So that means x is equal to 8. So now we have the point where x is 8 and y is 0. So if we graph that, it's actually going to be off of our graph. It's going to be right over here. And to find the y-intercept, again, remember that means that x is equal to 0. So I'm going to use this equation here. 0 plus 2y is equal to 8, where 2y is equal to 8, divide by 2, y is equal to 4. So again, x is 0, y is 4, so let's graph that point. X is 0, y is 4. Then all we have to do is draw a line to those 2 points. Of course, on your homework, you'll use a straight edge to do that. On here, I don't really have a straight edge, so I'm just going to keep trying until I get it looking nice. It looks something like that. Your homework is going to be a worksheet, so if you didn't pick that up on your way in, go ahead and do that now. Good luck. I know you're going to do awesome.